Hey UC, this will be my creative component for the UC leader application. In the spirit of petitioning for an egg themed frosh, I'm going to show you guys how I like to prepare my favorite egg themed breakfast. So as you can see here, typical ingredients that you need for eggs, for my egg breakfast anyway. Good firm bread. I don't really like to deal with soft kind of thin bread, but this helps, and this bread is kind of has a slightly sweet flavor which complements the salty flavor of the scrambled eggs really nicely. And oh yes, I will be making these eggs scrambled style, in case I didn't mention that. So first off, you want to prepare the bread, and we're going to be preparing it with this toaster oven over here. If you have an actual toaster, it works just as fine. I just don't have one. So what we want to do is, if you want, you can go pick up what we have here, which is a cutting board. You should always be using a cutting board whenever you deal with cutting anything. Saves the table, and also saves your knives. So for the knife, you want to choose a nice bread knife with a nice serrated edge. See if we can find this on the knife first. Maybe not there, maybe it's in here. Perfect. So I normally go with one of these and then just cut it in half. Depending on how much people you're serving, you can decide on your own how much you want to put in. So how you want to cut this? You're gonna want to cut this way down. I'm going to put the camera away for a brief second just so I can cut this, or maybe that's okay. And so what I'm basically doing is I'm just cutting it in half. And you want to, when you're cutting, you always want to cut with 4 fingers behind the knife and your thumb behind your finger. Alright, sorry about that. So just cut it so that the top side's facing up. And once you're done with that, you can just pop these in the toaster oven. You just get the charger out of the way. And a good trick with this kind of bread is you want to set it to about 5-6 minutes or so, and halfway through you want to flip them over so that you sort of, not even halfway, I'd say 3/4 of the way through you want to flip them over, so you want to slightly toast the top side, but most of your focus will be on toasting the white side over here. So just push this back. So we're going to set this to about right over there, and when that reaches that spot right there just above the 0, we want to flip it over to sort of get the perfect toast. So next, onto the main show, which is the scrambled eggs. See, what might be surprising is that you want to use a pot to actually make a really good scrambled eggs. I recently learned this. I've been using a pan my whole life, but after doing this, it actually makes a good difference. So what you want to do is, well, first turn on your exhaust so your smoke alarm doesn't go off. So what you want to do is turn the heat on initially, just so the pan gets heated up nicely. I use the non-fire oven. And then you're gonna get 3 eggs. You get 3 eggs, crack them into the bowl. Make sure that the carton doesn't get burned. Very important. We're gonna put this on lower heat. It doesn't need to be that hot. Excuse me once again while I break these eggs into. I'll come back. For now, just look up. I typically like to break my egg with a fork. If you're really good, you'll know how to break it on the edge of the pot, or you can use a spoon. Either one really doesn't matter. Just make sure you don't break the yolk when you put the egg out. And the bread should be done about halfway through preparation of the egg, so that's when you know when to turn over the bread. I'm going to use tongs because I still get a little bit burned whenever the toaster oven is on. So there it is, 3 eggs opened onto the thing. What you wanna do with this is you don't whisk it before you put it on the pan, but you want to whisk it on heat, because when you whisk it before you put it on heat, it just becomes a lot more watery, not as fluffy. You also don't want to season it, because adding salt at this stage would also break down the egg too fast, and it would turn into something very watery. It doesn't look too good. And the most important thing about cooking this is butter. Depending on how much you want to use, I like to use a general amount because I don't want my eggs to burn too much. So it's up to you really how much you want to use. I'm going to use probably 2 sticks, just like this. Give me a second. I lied, I'm going to use a little bit more. Yeah, this should be okay. Just the amount of butter that you want to use is really up to you guys. So just plop it in there. Next, all you really need to prepare this is a simple spatula. Next, put the pot onto the heat, and then put this away. What you want to do is just stir it in. This is when you want to do most of your action. Just want to break the yolk in the pot. You want to put it on heat and just stir it. And most important thing to remember about scrambled eggs is that it is alive. Well, not actually alive. But when you make it, you always have to be stirring. It's always going to be live. So you just want to be constantly stirring, constantly mixing around. You don't ever want to keep it like you don't ever want to just keep it still, otherwise you'll overcook it or you'll undercook it. There is that, and I forgot to turn on the side. So when that happens, you can just take it out, put it over, and set it to like 2 minutes to that spot. I'll do that once I finish with this. So you want to generally keep stirring and mixing until you notice it start to thicken. Then you take it off the heat and stir it again, and then you put it back on for the final bit of stirring. So you just want to make sure. So as soon as you notice it start to thicken up, that's when you want to put it off heat. Once again, once we put it off heat, we don't want to season it. Oh, yep. See it start to smoke like that. I don't know if you guys can exactly see it, but when you do it yourself, you will see it start to smoke. When it starts to smoke, then it's when it's starting to thicken, and that's when you want to sort of take it off heat and sort of work it again. And you want to do that when you take it off heat. You want to work it for maybe 3 or 4 things. See, it's starting to thicken. So when it thickens up, off heat, and just work it. And you don't really have to worry about not getting heat because the heat is still in the bottom of the pan, as you can see. So just make sure to work it there. You want to do this for like 3 or 4 turns, and then you put it back onto the heat. Actually, I'm gonna switch over to here just because I think this part is too big. Onto the heat, and then you basically want to just continue doing this until it becomes more fluffy. But yeah, this takes a little while, but this is normally when you have time to cook to eat breakfast. When you have the time to eat breakfast, it's normally the time when you have time to make breakfast. So this is a nice, easy, pretty, and it's very tasty start to your day. Just mix it up. As you can see there, the butter is keeping the yolk nice and yellow, and that's what we want. We don't want the eggs to get burnt. Yeah, for those of you watching this video, it's going to be quite a long time. I'm looking at the timer and it's pretty long. But creativity cannot be held by the boundaries of time. So I guess what I'm going to do now, is just pause this recording until you're ready to see the final product. So we'll be right back.